Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon, and today we're going to be talking about a different way to approach top lane compared to just playing purely to carry. So we're kind of just going to go through one of these gameplays with me playing Warwick. So you can see here we have 3 Sovereigns in this lobby, so it's a relatively high elo lobby. Obviously Sovereign this season is a bit lower than previous season, but still, of course, you know, higher probably than the average game that you guys will be playing in. So you can also see some higher level gameplay as well as we're going over this. And so basically what I mean by a different way to play top lane is not approaching it in a way where you're trying to 1v9 carry through side lane pressure. When you watch me play Jace, you watch me play Fiora, you see me really trying to play to stomp lane, and then using that lane pressure to draw people to me and then just do damage, right? Like, it's just, at the end of the day, Fiora and Jace, their job is to do as much damage as possible and get as much pressure on side lanes. A champion like Warwick, and a lot of, you know, kind of tankier champions as well, not necessarily just Warwick. You can play Gnar, you can play Renekton, you could play tanks like Ornn, but this is especially going to be true of bruisers who have good CC / team fighting potential and have good early game. And essentially the gist of it is going to understand that my goal is not to lane, my goal is to outvalue my opponent in some way. And so pretty much everything that I'm doing throughout this entire game is thinking about how I can get more value than Garen. And so if we already look at my approach to lane phase here, why do I instantly stand in front of his tower like this? Well, I realized that I can't lane Garen. Garen will just sustain, he's tankier, he's just not a champion I can really kill. And so what I understand that I need to do is to find value in another way. If I can't win lane, what else can I do? Well, I can just simply push the wave, as you're going to see here, get on the wave as soon as I can, and then use that to get information level 1. So a lot of people, they won't be on the wave as, you know, aggressive as you are here, for example, especially if you're a champion with some level of sustain, like a Warwick, like a Renekton. All you can do is you just hit the wave instantly, then do enemy walk up, you can trade with them occasionally, but your real goal is get the wave. So why do I want this wave? Because then I can go get information on the jungle right away. So not only did the trade go fine, not only did Garen not get to spin on the wave, which normally is what he wants to do, but now I also know that the enemy jungler is on the other side of the map, or is on our side of the map, which means he's pathing away from me, so I'm safe for quite a while. So this information, again, allows me to then be like, okay, I can just continue to play for prio. I'm not in any real danger. If Garen walks up at me, we'll trade with him. Otherwise, we're just going to keep doing this, and that's all I need to do. Because, again, my goal is not to beat Garen in lane. My goal is not to get a gold advantage. I'm not playing to get 1,000,000 gold. I'm playing to just simply push and then go missing. Obviously here, you know, I'm not going to give up a wave because I want to keep control of the wave, but essentially you're going to see I'm just sitting here, and then my main goal is to get the first recall off, because if I get the first recall off, I come back stronger. Then there's one of two things that will happen. Either Garen gets stuck with no you know, boots, or he recalls late and then I get back on the wave right away, which will be a timer when my jungle will start to come. So here you can see I'm already recalling, getting my boots. I immediately get back on boots, and then now again you see here, you know, we'll kind of just let it show here, but Garen ends up recalling as well, I believe, and so this means I get on the wave first. So being on the wave first when my jungler now comes to my side of the map means I can potentially make plays. There's going to be times where, as Warwick, especially because of your second ability passive, you're going to be able to rotate mid when the mid laner is under half health. Obviously most champions don't necessarily love roaming, but you can see I'm looking for this. Like, I don't end up going here, but this is just something I have the time to look for. Like, I might as well use that window to see if I can make a play. And so my entire thing is I just want more value than the enemy Garen. I've already gotten more value. I've gotten a ward on enemy blue buff. I've gone missing multiple times, which means the enemy mid laner potentially has to respect that. It's nothing crazy. It's like, it hasn't resulted in any outcome here that you see that matters, but that constant information, that constant push, just gives me an opportunity to make additional plays. And so even here you're going to see, I notice the enemy jungler blue buff is spawning soon because we have vision, so we have the timer down perfectly. We understand that the enemy just ulted, their jungler ulted, and Shyvana is super, super weak once she's ulted. I understand that my jungler is on the same side of the map, and I understand that my mid laner is relatively strong. So I'm trying to get Garen low health here, and then you notice how I notice, okay, he's going there, he has no ult charge, I can go mess with him, and my champion's very tanky, very hard to kill, and I have my ult to escape. So all I'm doing is, again, this value that I provide is just simply drawing the enemy time, wasting their time, stalling, and then giving my team the opportunity to go in. And again, we have enough information that Shyvana is barely a champion without her ultimate early game. So I didn't care that I'm taking some additional damage there early. I'm going to get them half health, which means I can run back on them with my W passive. And again, I set up for my teammates to make a really, really good engage there, because once again, Shyvana early game can't really do much. Aurora's fallen behind. And so you can see the value we've provided is just constantly being missing, constantly giving some level of pressure on the map. And again, you do this on a champion like Warwick when you're in a game where you can't necessarily function by just carrying. Because again, I can't, like, Garen's a stonewall champion. Like, I can't get past a Garen. Almost no champions can get past a Garen. Garen's just going to constantly sustain, constantly spin on the wave, and there's not much you can do. You can see the only thing I do, I come to lane to clear the wave. And then, like, okay, now I cleared the wave. I'm going to recall. I'm going to spend my gold. I'm going to come back. Here we actually make a different play, and I'll talk about this. But, yeah, typically, you'd go back to lane, you push your wave again, then you look for a play. So this is an additional part of the strategy. You're going to see a rotation here. So it's very rare, and this is a little more Warwick specific than the other things we talked about. The other things we talked about, like I said, they can apply to Gnar, they can apply to Renekton, they can apply to a lot of different more supportive slash, early game bruiser Baron laners. Why do I rotate here? So, and again, you can do this on other champions. It's not only Warwick, especially if you have TP, because then you can TP back to lane. So why do I do this? Basically, if we look at this game, the way it's progressing, the enemy ADC is up already thousands of gold on Kai'Sa, a champion who outscales Lucian Pike very hard, and my teammates are just getting completely destroyed. The only advantage we have is kind of my advantage, and then the advantage we get through mid jungle. So we basically, our dual lane is getting completely stomped to the point that the game is kind of unplayable. So what we realize that we have to do is we have to do something. Like, at the end of the day, as top lane, you have to find ways to have, again, more value than your opponent. We've got an advantage on Garen. We've gotten the push. I decide, okay, I can give Garen some stuff in order to potentially get some value somewhere else. And the reason that it makes sense to do that in a situation like this is because if the game keeps progressing as it's progressing, we're just going to lose. So instead, I might as well, and again, since I'm Warwick, my second ability passive, basically that's how I can decide. Whenever the second ability passive is active, if the game looks like it's going really poorly, you can see my dual lane down a lot, I might look for a rotation. Now, ideally, your lane was pushed before, like I pushed, then recalled, and then I went, and because of that, Garen barely even got anything. Again, a good Garen would maybe have gotten a plate out of that because he would have pushed. But you can see, like, we're trying to, again, just outvalue the Garen. The Garen, all he did was recall, walk back to lane. Meanwhile, I recalled, went topside, got a gank off, and then came back to lane. So it's just this constant additional value that I'm able to provide, and these things add up. Like, many times you're going to do this and you're going to lose anyway because your teammates will suck. As you can see, my teammates keep dying and dying and dying regardless. But it just gives you a little bit additional strength, or gives a little bit of additional strength to your teammates, making them a bit stronger, meaning they can potentially have some fights work out well. Like here, my teammates are able to get some stuff done on the top side and shut down the Kai'Sa. And again, if we weren't able to provide that value, giving that additional gold to Akali on that invade onto Shyvana, making Shyvana weaker as well with that, like, this all matters. Making a champion weaker, that type of thing, it all matters. And then here, you see, I literally walk under turret to stop his recall because I know what my champion wants. Like, why does this make sense? Because I'm outvaluing him by simply keeping him here, because he does not have the sustain that I have at this point. So if I keep him here like this and he's stuck there, it means he's under turret clearing a wave. Meanwhile, I get to rotate and just stall and get value. It doesn't matter that I have to use my ult here. I got Shyvana ult out. I make the enemy all show so we know where all of the enemy are, and my teammates are able to get a bunch of free time on Dragon. So you can see, again, the value I provide is just being, annoying, really, to the enemy, stalling the game out, and making sure that the enemy top laner is always late. You can see the enemy top laner is here way later. We get a kind of nice outplay there by getting that fruit, so we are able to live. My Lucian's able to get free top gold. We're able to get the Kai'Sa again, who is their really fed member. And I'm not saying the outcome is perfect, because it's not, and you're going to just generally lose a lot when your teammates are playing quite poorly. So of course, it's still rough. But we're able to, again, create this additional value. Like, basically, the Garen has been stuck in lane all game doing nothing. And in a normal game, if I'm playing a champion like Fiora, I might just lane against him because I'm happy to scale with him. But as a Warwick, again, I want to find a way to kind of spread my early game advantage as a champion to my teammates so they can do something with it. And then again, I'm still getting decent gold because my macro is still fine. Like, I'm pushing out the waves when I get there. I'm, still pushing out my wave before I rotate. It's not like I'm just like, full wave there, just go and rotate for no reason. Don't do that. You need to have specific reasons as to why you can rotate. So again, I don't do this every game on Warwick. Some games on Warwick, I'm laning against a Fiora, for example, and I'm winning lane against Fiora. I'm not going to constantly roam against Fiora because she's going to be way too strong if I end up giving her a bunch of gold. But sometimes if I'm against Fiora, I would roam, and that would be if, okay, Fiora is even gold with me. I can't really kill her. She's outscaling me, and my teammates are down 5,000 gold. Why would I roam in that situation potentially? And obviously, again, it's going to depend on the situation, but why potentially would I look for that? Well, it's pretty simple. Basically, the main reason that I'm going to look for rotation in that type of game, I don't know what my mind is blanking, but basically the reason I'm going to look for rotation in that type of game is because if the game progresses naturally again, we're just going to lose. Fiora is going to outscale me. My teammates are down 5k. They're going to keep dying. So I have to find something unique to happen. And again, if I have a 5v4 on a different part of the map or a 3v2 or something, sure, Fiora gets more gold, but Fiora was always going to outscale and be more valuable than me anyway. I might as well try to find value on another part of the map, do something with my team, you know. So even here, for example, we'll kind of go back as I was explaining a different example. Like if we look here, all I'm doing is I push my wave out and then I rotate. Like the simple thing is push your wave and then rotate. And here, our target priority, we're looking on the Kai'Sa. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get my drag to follow her ult. You're going to see me do that later, and we'll kind of show you what I mean. But the reason this didn't work out, obviously, is, again, because we're weaker and because I didn't make the proper choice. So if we look at it here, I'm stuck under my turret, and Garen gets to rotate first. This is what I want to be doing to Garen. And so sometimes you're going to be in a lane state where this happens, and what you want to do is you want to get an additional wave, and then once that additional wave is pushed, then you rotate. So if we look here, for example, Garen right now gets to move first, and that's fine. I don't want to just be moving second most of the time, because usually moving second just means we're going to lose, and here you see I tried to, but what would have been a better choice is push this bottom lane wave out, because then it again will kind of split them up, and then rotate after. Because now, if I push this wave then rotate, he guarantees loses 200 gold. Oftentimes, it also drags someone to come clear the wave under the turret, and then I get to rotate as now Garen gets drawn there. So your goal is draw someone somewhere else and then create the numbers advantage. But here, I let him push first because he just had, you know, the push in that situation, and then that means I'm late and it's not as good. So I'd be fine with matching him if we were stronger as a team. You know, if we were already winning fights, I'll just match him because we can just have even numbered fights and we'll just win. But when we're behind, again, I need to push that additional wave out, then rotate. That way, again, we'll kind of have a numbers advantage somewhere. Even if we did, again, we lost this fight anyway, like me there and me not there, probably going to lose. We're only not going to lose a fight if I'm able to create some type of numbers advantage. And so that's how you kind of see there was an issue there. And so here this time you see I push out the bottom lane wave as I'm supposed to. And then I get this rotation off first now. This time Garen has to go top. Shyvana's stuck on bot side. And because of this, we're able to collapse on the enemy and get some really nice kills, as you're going to see here, because they just end up way overextending as their teammates are stuck on side. And I'm sure you've had plenty of situations where you're like, why weren't my teammates there to come follow up? Well, oftentimes it's because your teammates suck, but other times it's because your teammates were busy pushing out a wave and didn't have prio. So the fact that I had the bottom lane pushed and the fact that Garen had to go clear the top lane wave meant that two of the enemy were stuck doing something other than fighting. Meanwhile, the enemy were, you know, in mid lane, so we were able to collapse on them in mid lane and then win the fight pretty nicely there. And again, Warwick is going to be one of these champions that does really well on low HP and kind of has these outplays as well. Obviously, is more of a champion specific thing, but you can kind of just see some of the good outplays that we're able to get here, get some kills, and then Kai'Sa ends up chasing us down here. But once again, you can kind of see how this is starting to work out a lot better, and it's largely due to the fact that we've gotten all these little additional value plays, like all these small additional value plays that we've gotten compared to Garen by pushing our wave, then rotating, by giving up some farm in order to, you know, make sure our teammates don't fall too far behind, has been really important. Again, I wouldn't do this on Jace as much. On Jace, I'm going to be like, okay, I get my gold and that's all that I care about. But Warwick, why would I lock in Warwick if I want to play like Fiora, you know? It just doesn't make sense. And so once again here, we're kind of valuing some level of gold, but you can see I rotate first because there's a dragon. So if I'm Fiora, if I'm Jace, I'm pushing this turret. Like, again, I want to make this very clear. If I am Fiora or Jace, I am currently bot side, I am pushing the turret because that is what my champion wants to do. But as a Warwick, I want to be on that fight quicker. I want to prioritize mid prio. So you're going to see here, I end up valuing the mid prio here. I'm not instantly going into fight because I'm still an assassin and my target is Kai'Sa. You can see I was looking for Kai'Sa, but she ends up not overextending. And so what do I do when a fight stalls out like this? I just push mid. All I do is I sit here in mid lane. If the enemy want to, you know, corral themselves into the dragon like that, I'll wait until they actually give me an opportunity to go on them, and then I'll target Kai'Sa. And there you see the drag. So if you drag Warwick first ability, it follows pretty much any dash, including Kai'Sa ultimate. As you saw there, we're able to follow Kai'Sa across the map and able to kill her there and get a nice outplay in the fight. But again, understanding your champion strength. My champion wants to find value in team fights, but I don't want to just go in 5v5 because Warwick is a bad 5v5 champion, especially when behind. So again, I push a wave out first, and I use that wave push to give me some like angle. Because again, if we just look here, I'm just going to go back to it. This fact that I get to push this mid wave and I'm on this mid wave gives me a completely different angle into the fight. You can see my entire team's stuck here. I have this angle because no one on the enemy is properly pushing mid wave. Like if they're pushing mid wave, I get pushed back and then I'm stuck here doing nothing, right? But instead, I get an easy angle, and that's why I'm able to find this angle on Kaisa. Kaisa's way too far up. She doesn't notice me, and then we follow her, we kill her. So you can see again, this just constant use of prio in order to get a lot of value, and then my team's able to get the Baron, we're able to get a turret out of this. Oh yeah, we did outplay this, or not really outplay, we got kind of lucky, frankly, but we ult out. Again, like that's another thing with your ult, is you can use it kind of, you can use your ult as like an escape tool. So Warwick is a really good champion at drawing pressure. If you go and watch my Warwick streams, you know, like any of my recent Baron lane games, you're going to see that this is something I constantly am doing, is getting this different value from the outplays. Like I've had games where, you know, 2-3 people are trying to turret dive me, I'm outplaying them, 1v2ing them, you know, maybe I die and I kill one or something, but I'm just getting this constant like pressure from this champion. And then now that we're actually in the lead as a team, I'm again more keen on just rotating with my team and fighting. So again, before it was like, make sure the wave's pushed, we can look for a fight after. Now, if there's a fight to be taken, we can take it. We're pretty fine with that. And again, you can see how cocky you can be on Warwick because of my ultimate. Like they can't kill me because of the ultimate escape. So even if they try to go on me here, I'll just ult out. I don't care, right? So I can use my ult as an escape tool to just draw pressure, and I can use it as obviously an engage. And definitely use your ult over your flash if you're trying to get out first, because it's a lower cooldown. People ask me this a lot, like why do you use your ult to get out instead of your flash? It's because it's a lower cooldown, so you're gonna get your ultimate up quicker. Obviously, there's gonna be some situations where you need to flash out, then you want your ults like in the next 10 seconds, and then you might flash first. But most of the time, you're gonna ult first. And so now we pretty much just make sure the lanes are pushed out, make sure we have pressure on all the lanes, and then we look for an easy fight from there. That's essentially the gist of the rest of this game, because we are strong enough as a team. So, you know, we don't really mind, again, grouping and kind of finding fights. I push the mid wave, and then I rotate into the side to make sure that I can, again, hover for some type of pick. Once again, where would I be if I'm Fiora? Probably bot side right now, getting that pressure on the side lane, drawing people away from me, because I want a 1v1. But Warwick wants to create picks with his team. Again, you're not just... If you're fed enough, you can one-shot them by yourself, but a lot of times it's more you find your ultimate onto them, you group with your team, especially when you're stronger. So, and once again, this applies to Renekton, Gnar, like, all these types of champions. And those types of champions, Warwick, Renekton, Gnar, if you end up getting super fed early game, your mindset can change. You can play more like a Fiora when you get super fed early game. You can play more to split push, more to, you know, 1v9, more to get all the gold, right? So it depends on the game too. But again, this wasn't a game where I thought that was really possible. Here, we go on Shyvana, and you're going to see I end up overextending because this is kind of the same situation, but this time my mistake, right? So you can just see my Akali is doing the correct thing. My Akali is pushing side lane. There's no objective up. There's no specific reason for us to fight here. But I go in, I waste my cooldowns, and we look for a pick here that doesn't really do anything. Because if we got that pick, we just get a dragon. Pretty sure one team, or each team has one dragon. This just doesn't do anything. As you can see, this random fight here, because we don't have side lane pressure, and then I even go even further in, is just greedy and dumb and pointless, and leads to a very negative outcome. Luckily, Akali's getting some side lane pressure, and it's not the end of the world, but it's obviously not good. We give away shutdowns, and you can kind of see quite a big mistake. Again, that lack of awareness of you know, our teammate being on side lane or our teammate being somewhere else, then going in, it's a mistake. It's a mistake I make. It's a mistake everyone makes at times. And, you know, you can definitely see how it almost threw the game. Luckily, we end up going Baron here, and the enemy are kind of overextending, and we're able to group them all up really nicely. Honestly, even if we didn't steal Baron, it still would have been a good situation, because the enemy just aren't strong enough at this point. So luckily it works out. We can pretend like Talon meant for that to happen, you know. Also, I blocked the Nautilus Q. That was pretty funny. But yeah, no, we can pretend like I realized that they would not have enough time to actually do the Baron, so I died at a perfect time to bait them into doing the Baron. Like, we could pretend that, you know, I'd be down if you guys are down. We don't have to, you know, act like I made a mistake, because, you know, mistakes don't happen, obviously. But either way, then we end up chasing Nautilus for about 3.5 years, you know. About the same amount of time that I've been alive as a human, is how long it took me to kill this Nautilus, but eventually we killed him. My teammate gets the dragon, and overall it's not, you know, not a bad situation. Obviously we have the Baron, and so at this point now, pretty straightforward. Group with our team again. If we can find a fight angle now that we're actually stronger as a team, we'll look for something. I guess I find something, so just kind of skip it forward until. But basically, Kai'Sa's my target. That's another thing, is the target priority is super important when you're playing these types of things. Like, obviously, this Kai'Sa was the super fed one. You can see I drag again to follow her with my Q. My voice did not crack there. You didn't hear that. But yeah, no, we just, at this point, target the Kai'Sa, who is really the fed person on the enemy team, and we're kind of chilling from there. And yeah, we're able to end the game here. So I just wanted to make a video kind of showing you guys how I'm able to get a lot of value. Holy shit, my voice keeps cracking. I don't know what's going on. But I want to show you guys how I can get a lot of value in top lane in a way that's not just solo carrying. This especially works well in duo, but I mean, I'm doing this in solo queue and climbing very well. We're at, I think, 74 marks, or 26 marks from 5 sovereign accounts in one season, 1 per role, all solo queue. So hoping I can get that. I think I have about a week until the season ends, so we'll see. We'll see if we're able to actually get that done. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was valuable to you in some way, shape, or form, and I'll see you in the next one.